Everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to another transfer show, or sort of a transfer show. Actually, it's not, I wouldn't really call it a transfer show. I think it's more of a discussion show. But we've got, for the first time ever, we've got Avi Dutta on our show. Avi Dutta, one of our Chelsea experts. Avi, welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Been watching you for a while. It's nice to be here. Should be fun.
Yes, he means watching me on video, by the way. Like,
it sounds kind of creepy. Okay.
I think, but no, yes, no, I'm just kidding. But yes, it's great. Thank you, and it's great to have you on the show. Of course, speaking of which, by the way, Avi is one of our subscribers on Facebook and YouTube, of course, and you should be as well. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We have now crossed 750 subscribers on Facebook, by the way, so I'm really happy about that. Thank you to everyone who has followed our channel on Facebook, subscribe to our channel. Really, really great. And if you guys could also subscribe on YouTube, that would be great. So yeah, I'm just being greedy, but that'd be great. All right, so let's get into today's topic. We're actually going to talk about Chelsea and the recent news that broke about Chelsea having sending back 4 of their academy players back from the tour. A couple of them will be leaving, and I know there's a lot of Chelsea fans. There's a lot of divided opinion about why that's happening. You know, whether that's because the academy is not being prioritized, or whether that's because the players are not fighting. I mean, we'll get into that. So, Avi, so let's start with the most obvious one, which is, well, actually, I'll give you the names of the 4 that have been sent back. So, Harvey Vale, Armando, Broja, Tino, Anjorin, and the other one is Billy Gilmour, who's been sent back. Along with that, Levi Cole has also been considering his future, whether he wants to stay. So, we'll talk about that as well. But let's start with the most obvious one, Armando Broja. He had a good season with Southampton, so to speak, and it was expected, perhaps some expected that he might challenge for a position in the team, especially with Lukaku gone. But it looks like he might be going to West Ham. How do you feel about that as a fan? You know.
So right out of the gate, I'm going to be a bit controversial. I'm not too worried about Armando Broja leaving, because so everybody kind of wants to get directly into the first team after what happened with Lampard, that Reece James and Mount and everyone just got thrown into the first team, and Chalobah also to an extent. But with Broja, so basically he went to Southampton. How many goals did he score last season? Maybe like 5 or 6 goals. I think it was
8 goals. I think
in the Premier League. I think it was some 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
No weak foot goals. Nothing outside the box, if I'm not mistaken. No headers. No assists. He had an all right season, and I think. It wasn't too great. I know it was Southampton, obviously, but still, it's not enough to get into the Chelsea first team, right? If anything, rotational player, and I think that's what Tuchel would have planned for him, especially behind Havertz and probably Sterling as a false nine as well. And I think that's where he's at right now. If he wants to get regular first team football at a probably better Premier League club than Southampton, the West Ham move suits him. If he gets 20 goals next season and proves me wrong, I'll take the L. But I don't think he's entitled to first team football yet in Chelsea. Maybe a rotational player, I'm good with that. But otherwise, I'm not too worried about Broja.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was just thinking West Ham, where does he start though? Because Michael Antonio has that striker position unlocked. So even if he goes there, he's going to be a rotational player anyway, because I don't think they're going to start him over Michael Antonio, and I don't think he'll want to play. Well, sometimes he does play 2, but usually he doesn't play 2 strikers up front unless they go to a back 3. So yeah, it's an interesting move he makes it. Maybe there's something that Moyes has told him, and maybe that might work. But it seems like you've done your research on that one, so it's a very interesting answer. I'm sure a lot of Chelsea fans will have opinions on that, but
yeah, I think Fabrizio Romano reported 30 million plus add-ons, something around that range. If you include like a buyback of 50-55 and he bangs in 20 goals, yeah, all right, trigger the buyback clause, or maybe even 70-80, because that's how the market works these days. I'm fine with that. I'm not, losing any sleep over it right now.
Yeah, I think it's 30 million pounds for a player like that, and then you get a buyback in. Probably not a bad deal to do. I would agree with that, and we'll probably try to see if that deal progresses. We might do a show on that one in the future, but we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Talking about Billy Gilmour, and this is one of those, because I know Armando Broja is the high-profile player, but I'm actually intrigued with Billy Gilmour, because I think I saw him a couple of years ago. And he impressed me. I was like, this guy's got something. Like he's a good player.
Oh yeah.
For some reason, it hasn't worked out for him at Norwich. It didn't work out for him under Tuchel. Is it possible it's just the system? I mean, he did have a horrific injury as well, and I know that might have also impacted him. But Do you feel that he's kind of regressed, or do you just feel that he's not been able to find his game yet?
I don't think he's regressed, to be honest. So he came in under Lampard. I think his debut was in the FA Cup or Capital, like Carling, what's it called? Capital One Cup against Liverpool. And he really impressed everyone. And he was pretty good for Chelsea under Lampard. And I watched him in the Euros for Scotland. He was an absolute monster, wasn't he? And I think even Roy Keane, and when Roy Keane praises you, I mean, that's everything, right? As a central midfielder.
He doesn't praise anyone. So yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I really, really rate Billy Gilmour. And if you think about his loan to Norwich, in hindsight, it was probably the right thing to do, right? Like it felt right that, okay, he's going to go into a team and he's going to be the key player, the best player over there. Norwich were abysmal last season. He was pretty good. If you actually watched the individual performances, he was all right. It was just the 10 people around him who weren't really at the level of the Premier League. So he's still a really, really good player. I don't think he fit into the first team with Kante, Kovacic, Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek even. We had Barkley for some reason, but we don't talk about that.
You had him because it's called the Phil Jones syndrome, when somebody's around because they can't be sold. And they keep staying.
Yeah. So I think now, the situation now, Kante and Kovacic have shown that they can get injuries every now and then. I think that's what happened last season. I think Gallagher should be starting. If not starting, at least second choice. Jorginho is pretty much finishing up his Chelsea career by the looks of it. Loftus-Cheek as well is kind of mid. He's kind of inconsistent as well. And if Barkley and Saul Niguez can get game time last season, I don't see why Billy Gilmour can't get game time. So if we let him go on another loan, I think it's not going to do him any favors. He's going to be forever alone, so, as the phrase goes. And if we let him go, it's an even bigger mistake. Billy Gilmour, I'm particularly worried about. I really do not want to let him go. I hope Tuchel gives him a chance at least in a rotational for the double pivot, like Gallagher, Kante, Kovacic, and Georgie as the others.
Yeah. At the moment, it looks like he's going to go to Everton, who are managed by Frank Lampard. So that looks like they're doing that at the moment. That's where it looks like it might happen. But we'll keep an eye on here, right? I mean, maybe once you get into the loan cycle, and it's hard to get out of it as well. So yeah, I mean, it is sad to see it with him because I do like him. I do like the look of him, the little that I've seen. But Tuchel knows best sometimes, and you got to trust the manager as well. And then of course there's Harvey Vale, who's probably going to go back. I've not seen much of Harvey Vale. I've not seen much of Anjorin. I don't think they're players that are particularly. I don't think there's much. Are those kind of the players that you see could be a part of Chelsea's future? They're definitely not part of the present. But
I have seen Tino Anjorin play for Chelsea, but he's got very little game time, as you said. But whenever he was on the ball, he had that something. I was a bit disappointed seeing him go out to loan. I think he had a buy option as well. I don't know why that wasn't triggered, but maybe I could be wrong about the buy option. I really do like Tino Anjorin. But again, I haven't seen much of him. Tuchel sees him every day. And I trust Tuchel. I'm one of those Chelsea fans who really, really trust Tuchel a lot. So fine, I really can't comment given the knowledge I have. Harvey Vale's another interesting one. I saw him only last season. I think I did see him in the FA Youth, in the youth cups and stuff. But last season, he broke into the first team with, I think, his debut against Brentford, was it, for FA Cup? Or League Cup or something. He was good. He also, I think, won the Euros a few months ago, right, with the England youth team.
Yeah.
But again, has he really proven himself at a high level? Not really, right? Forget about consistently proven. He hasn't really proven himself at a high level, right? It's just a little bit of game time. Does that entitle him to a first team starting 11 spot? No. First team rotational? Also no. Probably back up for some League Cup games. I think that's where he's at right now. If he's sent out on loan for a season, I think that makes sense.
No, I think him and Anjorin do need to go on loan. I don't think you can push them straight into the first.
Yeah, and I think he's liked. I think he's happy there from whatever I've seen with the behind the scene videos and all of that. From whatever you can catch from that, right? The interactions in the dressing room. I think he's quite happy. He's happy at Chelsea. He loves Chelsea. the gaffer likes him. I don't think he'd let him go that easy. It should be a loan like Gilmour last season, hopefully with better results, I guess.
Yeah, he'll be alone. I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess those are not that difficult because they haven't yet been given a chance of first team football, right? With Gilmour, with Broja, they played that first team football. So when you play it, you want to play more of it. You don't really want to be sitting on the bench, and that kind of changes things. Which brings me to Levi Colwill, another player. I don't think he's played a lot last season in the first team, but someone who's very highly rated, I know, by Chelsea fans. And apparently he's considering his future because Chelsea are trying to sign 3 centre-backs this season. They've already got in Koulibaly, and the plan is to bring in Kounde as well as, I believe, Kimpembe. So that's the plan. If they do get 3 centre-backs, that makes 4 centre-backs in total because, Aspilicueta probably might leave. So you've got 4 centre-backs. In that case, should Colwill still be pushing for a move, or should he just be like, well, I'm the 5th centre-back, I'll be the 5th centre-back, so in a back 3 system, I'll still get opportunities, right?
Nothing wrong with being the 5th centre back at a back 3. He's going to be ahead of Malang Sarr for sure. Thiago Silva's aging. There is the injury risk with him, right? And he can't play, Champions League and then League Cup like thrice in a week. He probably can't play. Trevor Chalobah got pretty good game time last season.
Yeah, Chalobah. Sorry, I forgot about him. So you do have 6 centre backs then, I guess.
Yeah, so 6 with I think. The Kimpembe and Kounde deals, I don't think we're going to sign both of them, to be honest. It's going to be one of them.
Well, Kounde, the problem is Barcelona.
Barcelona is the problem.
I know, yes,
We have been pursuing for 2 years, but whatever. It is what it is. But to be honest, if Levi Cole leaves, I will be incredibly disappointed. Because last season, when Mark Guehi left for Crystal Palace, I was absolutely screaming. I actually rate, people are going to disagree with me here, but I rate Mark Guehi higher than Fikayo Tomori. I think if you put Guehi in the back line of AC Milan, I think they still win the title last season. I think they're a better team. Guehi was the under-17 World Cup winning captain, the captain of the under-21 team. He's one of those centre-back leaders, like someone who can potentially grow into a John Terry. And I think Levi Colwill has a similar profile. That he also, I think, captained the under-19s in England team or something. He's got those leadership qualities, also homegrown, and you know what that means. So I'll be supremely disappointed if he leaves. I don't think I've said this thrice already in this conversation, but he's not yet entitled to get into the starting 11. The progression goes loan, successful loan, maybe a second successful loan, then rotation, and then getting into the starting 11. I think with Reece and Mount and everyone that the expectations sort of changed, and we're kind of dealing with that right now. But he should not be pushing away from a leave pushing, for a move away. Same thing with Livramento. I felt really bad when Livramento left and we kept Marcus Alonso. And Marcus Alonso, to be fair, came in clutch, but Livramento is like an amazing rotational option, right? So I don't want to lose Colwill, Livramento, and Guehi in 2 seasons. It's going to be really, really horrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wonder with Colwill. I guess if he's in the top 6, that I guess that's fine. But I guess his fear is that he might be the 7th or the 8th, and then you kind of don't get as much game. So I mean, he's already 6th right now. So we'll have to see what happens. But I mean, I'm not a Chelsea fan. I don't follow Chelsea, so I leave that to Chelsea fan to decide. But it's interesting you mentioned that about Mark Guehi, and that actually brings me to a bigger conversation piece as well, and something to think about is the fact that Chelsea do have a wonderful academy system. They're wonderful academy players that come through. Some of them probably, and this has been going on for like more than a decade now. Like some, they've broken through now, but they've had wonderful players, I think, for like 2 decades. I remember Josh McEachran was once talked about. There was that Gail Kakuta, who they did everything that they could to keep him. So all kinds of players. I'm saying that they had very highly rated players. Not saying that all of them succeeded, but I've always heard that they've had a very good academy system, winning all sorts of youth level trophies as well. If for some reason, there's always been this issue that players kind of leave Chelsea. They feel like they have to leave Chelsea after a while. And I think Chelsea kind of made the academy their sort of feeder system of money, the money business system to support their transfers. That changed over the last couple of years under Lampard. Do you have a fear that it's possible that again players might start thinking, well, we got to leave Chelsea to kind of grow in our careers? And do you feel that that's probably a limitation of the Chelsea academy system, is that when you have so many good academy players, some of them will miss out?
I don't think so. I think Lampard has set a very good precedent. Right now, what we have Reece James, world class. We have Mason Mount, potentially world class, like very close to world class. We've got Conor Gallagher. I think he was Youth Player of the Year, right? Premier League Young Player.
Was he Young Player of the Year? I don't think. No, that was Foden, but he was definitely among the.
He was in. Yeah, it was Foden. He was like basically in contention. And we have Callum Hudson-Odoi. We have Trevor Chalobah. So we have quite a lot, right? If you look at the squad in 2012, 2013, what did we have? John Terry, right? From 2000 and 2003, whenever it was. Yeah. So we have a lot of people as examples now. And I remember in 2012, 2013, maybe a little later, like 2014 or something, and I was watching the youth games, and you're looking at Lewis Baker, and you're looking at Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Charlie Musonda, and all of these really good. Sorry?
Was Bamford still a part of the youth team at that?
Yeah, Patrick Bamford was, I don't know if he was part of the youth team in 2015 or something. We had Dom Solanke, we had Tammy Abraham and all. Some of them got their breaks, maybe not quite highly as was expected, especially with people like Lewis Baker and Charlie Musonda, who was hailed as the next Eden Hazard, right? Marco Marin, the German Messi, who remembers that? I don't think he was youth academy. I think
he was bought from Germany.
Werder Bremen or something.
Yeah.
But still, people saw Kevin De Bruyne and they saw Mo Salah and they were like, okay, we need to leave Chelsea to succeed. I think the precedence has been set. You can come through the youth academy, and you saw how the Norwich game last season, right? 7-0.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I think everyone on the score sheet was a Cobham player, right? And you saw the game against Juventus. These guys are really, really making a name for themselves. They are becoming the face of Chelsea, isn't it? And I think it's a really good thing. I think Thomas Tuchel is the kind of person who wants to promote these players, but he's also really, really demanding. So it is a mid ground. You need to challenge for the Premier League. You need to challenge for the Champions League. And that's why I say I trust Tuchel. He has those high standards. He cares about the academy players. I think we have the right balance. So I'm not that worried about going back to 2011, 2012.
No, I hope so. I like a lot of the players at Chelsea. They do produce a lot of good academy players, and I like seeing academy players come through at any club. It's always good to see that. I know it's very sentimental of me, but I just like that. And it's
not. It's actually much more than sentimental, right? Because think about it. You have what's the best way to communicate this? So, you have these top professionals that wherever they go, they always bring the highest level of football. Cristiano Ronaldo, Thiago Silva, Zlatan, Lampard. Paul Pogba, just kidding.
You on a roll there, and then you kind of just stop it. Okay,
okay. But you have these players, right? Youth academy players who grow up with the club and love the club. They turn up each week and they play for the badge, right? You're a United fan. Do you remember the game against Liverpool? I think the second fixture against Liverpool in the Premier League. The team played horribly, but then there was this Hannibal guy, right? Hannibal, I forget his full name.
Hannibal Mabry, yeah.
Yeah, and he was there for the last 10 minutes or something. He wasn't amazing, but he was putting the tackles in. He had that fire.
That's literally all he did. He just put in tackles, and that's how bad United were, that we were facing these bad tackles.
So Sir Alex Ferguson kind of did that. A lot of the players under Sir Alex were not world class, right? And even, somewhat unrelated, but things like the little things like when we were under sanction, right? We weren't allowed to sell tickets to our FA Cup youth final game. And the Chelsea first team, like the academy graduates, Mason Mount, Reece James, and Callum Hudson-Odoi, they bought the tickets for the fans. That kind of thing, it's amazing, right? You can't really put a price on that. It's valuable, isn't it?
It is, yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's great, yeah. And the only thing I will say about the United game is that a lot of academy players did play in that game, and they were shit for United. So but that's the United problem. We're not going to talk about them. But it's great. Just final question then for you, because I know we're kind of running out of time. Are there any academy players? Now, I'm not going to let you say Conor Gallagher, because that's a cop out. But are there any academy players that you think could break through at Chelsea this year? That you're excited to see play first team football? Maybe a year there.
Conor. I don't know. This season, probably not. People are talking about Ian Maatsen. I don't think he's quite there yet. I think we were in crisis, so people brought his name up, but I don't think he's there yet.
Maatsen has gone on loan, hasn't he?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not quite sure, but I would be
The
surprised.
rumors of him, yeah, the rumors of him leaving. So I think he's at either finalized a loan move or he's close to it. Yeah.
Yeah, this season I don't think so. Harvey Vale might make appearances like Ross Barkley made appearances last season. Maybe we might see a little bit of that. I don't see Soon Bell coming through. I don't see Lewis Hall or any of like Simmons coming through. No, not this season at least.
All right. Well, that's great. Yeah. Well, we will be on the lookout. Maybe Levi Cole will become a starting centre back by the end of the
Hopefully.
season. I'm excited. I would like to see Chalobah more of him. I like what I saw of him. I think in a game that I saw towards him. It was against a big club that I saw, and I think he played very well. So it's like I'd like to see how he can take that step up. First season's always easy. It's the second where it's difficult. So I'd love to see that, of course. But thank you so much, Avi, for your time and for sharing this information. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear about the different academy players and what might happen with regards to Chelsea and how they go forward. So it's really exciting. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Smash a like for Avi, by the way, if you liked all of his insights and information on this topic. I think I really enjoyed it. So please do that. If you did enjoy this video, of course, also remember to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. Like I said, we're doing quite a few videos. There's lots of news coming as well in terms of transfers. So if you subscribe, you get notified for that. So please do that. And of course, we appreciate your support as always. So thank you for that. Take care and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.